So before I hand over the stage to our trainer for the day, let me lay down a brief introduction about Toastmaster Anusha. So distinguished Toastmaster Anusha Khurana is an international level speaker. She has won the District Evaluation Trophy in the year 2017. This lady with 20 years, or more than 20 years of experience as a soft skills trainer has trained students at IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, Calcutta, as well as Kohipur. In addition to that, she has also trained corporates and government officials alike. She has even spoken at functions hosted by the President of India, Finance Minister, and the list goes on. Veteran Toastmaster Anusha Khurana, we are glad to have you in the room today to take us through a tour of how to deliver an impactful, engaging speech evaluation. So, with a thunderous round of applause, guys, let's welcome on stage distinguished Toastmaster Anusha Khurana on impactful speech evaluation session.
Thank you, Manya.
Over to you,
ma'am. Very warm welcome and a very good evening to all of you. I hope we're able to make this evening a very interactive one. I have half an hour with me, so I hope to be able to get across to you, to have your views, to get to know what you want me to do. So Manya, quickly, what is the first thing which comes to your mind? Let me see if I can share my screen first. Is it visible?
Yes, it's clearly visible.
Okay. So what is it, Manya, that you look for when somebody is evaluating you?
I aspire to be a version 2.0 from the current version when I delivered my speech the next time when I hear the feedback.
Okay, okay. Evaluate, if I say the word evaluate comes from the word value and elate, why am I using the word elate? Can anybody venture a guess? Why am I using the word elate? What does elate mean?
To be happy about something.
Yes, yes. So why do you think it's important to be happy?
The feedback.
After speaking, if you get elated from evaluation.
Yes. After I finish my evaluation, I want you to be happy. I don't want you to feel miserable, demotivated, or I don't want you to feel that you didn't get your values worth out of what I was saying. So that is the trick. The practical tip which I want to give you is, if you're able to not make the person ungenuinely happy, genuinely, if you're able to make them happy, you have achieved what you want to do. And that does not mean you have to be a diplomat all the way. It does not mean you have to sugarcoat it. You can do all of this in a very nice way. Let me begin with, yes, just one sec. Manya, I'm getting a control. The screen is coming on top, so I'm not able to screen share properly.
The controls are given.
Okay, I'll continue from here. So my first thing to you is, we start from the very beginning, a very good place to start, which comes from the movie Sound of Music. Now, what is the first thing that you hear in a speech? Harshita, what is it that you hear when you are in a speech? When you're about to deliver a speech or you're about to evaluate a speech, what is the first thing that you hear? Anybody for that matter? Manya?
Voice quality, I think.
No, the first thing. You will hear voice quality, agreed. But what else will you hear?
Smile. Face expression, smile.
Something more?
Speech title of the speech. What is the speech about?
The topic of the speech, fantastic. The title is the first thing you'll hear even before the speech begins. And that's the trick to the whole story. If you're able to catch the title, understand it and its implications, half the game is done. So listen very carefully to the title. I always train to ensure I hear the title right, because if I get it right, then a large part of the job is done. Once upon a time, there was a speech in which I heard bugle effects, and the actual speech was Google effects. So you can imagine, throughout the time I was trying to evaluate, nothing was making sense to me. So this is called the fulcrum or the hinge effect. What I've written after that is in French. What it means is, you see a door which moves very well. Tu vas en porte, ça marche très bien. Because your entire evaluation is going to hinge around the title of the speech. And who gives the title, Manya? Do I give the title, or does the person who's introducing me give the title?
The speaker who gives the title.
The speaker sometimes gives the title, but more often than not, the person who's introducing them gives the title. So strain your best to hear the title, because very often when the speaker starts speaking, they don't give the title. They start straight away. Okay, I'd love it if you were to pause me and ask questions right in the middle where we are going. Absorption of the title. Now, what do? You've got the title. You've understood it. Now is the time to brush off everything that you've understood, because you are not the one who's written the speech. Somebody else has written the speech. So what you have to do is understand the title and immediately ununderstand it. Why? Because you have to hear the speech from the speaker's point of view. So what do? You give a minute for yourself of what you understand of the title, and then wipe your slate clean. You got to understand, because our brain is a very funny organ, and it won't rest till we interpret it. So you have to interpret the speech. Google effects, bugle effects, what could it be? Let me understand what it could be. But after that, wipe it clean, because Manya is going to deliver the speech, because Ankita is going to deliver the speech, because Harshit, Rajiv is going to deliver the speech. Rajiv is going to talk about the Gita, for example. Now, if the title of the speech had been the Gita, we wouldn't have known what he'd been talking of, because he talked of all aspects of the Gita. So the first things first, listen to the title and then wipe every concept you have clear from your mind. Any questions still here? Okay. What happens after the title? The title, Anusha Khurana, Love is Blind. Love is Blind, Anusha Khurana. What happens after that? The speaker comes on stage and starts speaking. Now here we have the two-way theory. All of us, can we have the muting of the mics, please? So what I'm saying is, the two-way theory is, you divide the page that you've been given for. I'm going to give you very practical tips because I have very short time. So what you do is, you take your paper and divide it into two parts, the right side and the left-hand side. You actually run a line through it. The right side, you write plus, and the left side, you write minus. Now, can you tell me why right side plus and the left side minus? I can see very few people, so I have to ask whoever. Nishtha, why plus on the right side and minus on the left-hand side?
I think we are going to write the commendations and the recommendations on that.
Yes. You're going to the right-hand side. You can have it your way. You can do it left, right. But one part is for the commendations and the other part is for the recommendations. Here the catch is, as you are listening to the speech, you have to quickly start putting down what the speaker is saying, the important words on the right and the left-hand side. Don't try and interpret anything. Just write, love is blind, catch 22, Gita, Arjun. But you have to decide whether it's a plus point or it's a minus point. So quickly analyze it and put it in the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the page where you're going to be finally reading it out from. I always take 2 pages. The first is the rough page. Now, my question is, why do you note verbatim? Why do you note the exact words that the speaker is giving? Rajiv, why do we need the exact words, Rajiv?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah. I'll tell you why we need the exact words. We need the exact words because later on we are going to attach a large part of what you said to those words. So if I'm saying love comes after a long waiting period, note down that phrase, waiting period, love, waiting period. That's really important. Don't try to put your interpretation. Just note down the words verbatim and leave a gap after each word that you're noting down. Suppose the speech is, where do I see myself 15 years from now? So where, 15 years, and that's it. So you will have a hint. Why I'm doing this is because you will have a hint for yourself once you start interpreting these words later. Am I clear till now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Now, some people want to divide the page into three portions. There's a neutral territory. Sometimes you can't decide whether it's a plus or a minus, so quickly put it in the central portion. This will help you later if you run short of ideas. This is called the neutral territory. The critical part comes once the speech is over. We are given 5 minutes in which we are allowed to interpret what the speaker has said. Quickly move the neutral territory into a plus or a minus, and then decide the meaning of the words the speaker did into a C and an R. Decide whether this was a good point or this was a bad point. The pluses obviously are C and the minuses are R. What happens after this? You get a nice list of C's and R's. Is that all? No. Addition of C and R should be there if you do not have enough already. Suppose I have 2 commendations and no recommendation. I'll quickly look through the verbatim words which I have noted, and something will come to me because whatever the speaker was saying will come to me at that time. Quickly note that down and form, if all of you read psychology or some of you who read psychology will know, that will make you form a gestalt. You'll recall the speech as a whole and you will have an impression of the speech, whether you liked it or you didn't like it. From your memory, recreate the speech that was done. If you cannot recall well, then look at the lines you have copied of the speaker and something will definitely come to you. Ranking of the C's and the R's. Now we have lots of C's and lots of R's. I love certain things about the speaker and loving is really easy. Oh, he spoke beautifully. He had a fantastic accent. The words, the pronunciation was good. Vocal variety was there. But remember to rank. Whatever you've done, put the most important C on top, then the next C, then the next C, not more than 3. I would suggest not more than 3 C's and 2 or 3 R's. Keep 1 C for the end because it's C, R, C. You will have an idea as to which C and which R is the strongest. Keep them for the beginning. Most of the time, give your strongest C for the beginning. However, if you are hesitant to dive straight in, you can begin with a milder C, which sets the tone for your speech. And then immediately after that, come up with the most powerful C that you found because you need time to speak. Elaborate well on it because your strongest C will carry you through, your C and your R. If you're going to give C's, give 3 C's at the most. I would suggest give C's till the green card is about to come, till the middle of the green card. You can anticipate that. Time spent on C's should be approximately towards the mid of the green card. That is, if you feel that in some time from now, the green card is going to come. If you keep on dragging on and you reach the green card with your C's already, it's a signal. Quickly transit to the R's. Depending on when you transit from the C to the R, you will have time to set their introduction. Very often, I've seen very good speakers raving and talking beautifully about the C's, but they forget that your analytical ability will be checked through your R's. If enough time is there for you to transit, now I'm transiting from my C's to my R's. I need to be able to communicate to you that I'm changing. I remember saying once, this was a 5-star speech. What could we do to make it a 7-star speech? This is what I have in mind. Now, why am I saying that? You have to keep the speaker motivated all the time. This is what experience has taught me. I've reached around 4 finals and I found The time I decide to be super critical, it doesn't work. The time I'm encouraging, the time I'm positive, that's the time which works. So you have to have a good transition from your C's to your R's. So if the speech is on, let's say the topic is, where would I be 10 years from now? You start by saying, 10 years from now, I am sure I will be giving better recommendations. And in an attempt to work towards them, let me see what I can suggest for the speaker. But if you've reached the green card and your C's are still on, say, my recommendations are, and go straight on to the recommendations. Don't wait to set an elaborate setting. Don't go for an elaborate setting, for the speech. Recommendations are the base on which you work. How you analyze, what you analyze, the quality of your analysis is what is going to take you through. Now, all of us, most of the time, have one or two similar recommendations. So that recommendation of yours, which you think is unique, keep that on top. Speak about it first. Strongest one first means your strongest recommendation first. Expand on it well enough so that people understand what you're talking about. Illustrate it to the audience. You talk of vocal variety, but you don't give any sample. Let's give a sample to the audience as to what vocal variety is all about. That's something, if you do, the audience gets an idea as to what is expected to be done by the speaker in place of what he or she did. Now, 3 recommendations are maximum. Most of the time, I think 2.5 are good enough. 2 you give in detail and 1 small one you give later. And the first one should be very clearly explained. Balanced ones depends on how much time you have, how well you understand what you want to say, and how deeply you've analyzed it. Now, the toughest thing is for the speaker who is coming first. He or she has to speak immediately. So what you do is get your R's very clear in your mind. For the C's, just keep the headings. Vocal variety was beautiful, they spoke beautifully, etc., etc. But your R's should be well done. They should be done in such a way that they get across to the speaker and to the audience. Now, I'm going to stand up and illustrate something to you. I've written gentleness of demeanor. There was one speaker, she would do this. I think you'll recognize it also. She would do this and say, the speech was all about settling down. So what she would say was, and I'm going to settle down. And every time she did, she would do this gesture and say, I'm going to settle down. Now, that looked a little out of place. So what I did was I began analyzing this gesture. But this was something which was not expected of a good evaluator, because you don't mimic the speaker. You don't do things which might upset the speaker. You could simply, or I could simply have said that the speaker had a certain kind of gesticulation, which was different, and it could have been handled in a different way altogether. So throughout your analysis, you have to remember to be gentle. You have to be gentle in your analysis. Okay. So this is somewhat overall what you'll be doing when you will be going for an evaluation. What you will be doing is you will be watching the speaker speak and you will absorb the title of what the speaker has spoken about. Thereafter, you will analyze what the speaker said into the C's and the R's. After you have analyzed the C's and the R's, you will grade the best C first, the second C next, and the third C after that. Thereafter, you will come to the recommendations. Strongest recommendation first, next recommendation second, and so on till you are able to finish all your recommendations. Now, what are the guidelines you have to keep in mind? What does pithy mean? Rajiv, what does pithy mean? Can you explain what pithy means? Pithy means, what is the meaning of the word? The pithy, the word, what does it mean?
To explain something very clearly.
Sorry?
To be very clear, precise.
To be
Precise.
very precise. And so you have to be very, very precise in what you are going to be speaking about. Number 2, you have to be accurate. Number 3, don't introduce new points after you finish off your C and your R. Then you just have one more C which you have to introduce. You do your C, you do your R, and then you do the summary. Once you've done the summary, you have to wind out by giving a bouquet to the speaker. You cannot leave the speaker being demotivated. So do your C, do your R, do your final C, and then end up by saying, let's see what I've written here. Having said all that, I still feel that the linkage of the topic to the speech was so strong that the recommendations take a shadow. The speaker's strong points will raise his or her speech, taking with them the points of suggestion. So this is a very mild way of saying that what the speaker did was very well done. They could have done it better, but I still like overall what they did. That is really, really important to be done. Here are some tips on, now this is general tips on evaluation. Smile. It costs nothing, but warms up the audience to you. That is really important. Smile when you begin. In the middle, if you're talking something which is humorous, smile again. Now, nowadays, when we have virtual presentations, eye contact can maximal be with the camera. So as I look at you, I hope we are eye to eye and we are able to talk 1:1. In virtual meetings, it's even more important that you have good eye contact. Now, who's heard of Amy Cuddy? Amy Cuddy, anybody heard of her? Fake it till you make it. Who's heard the theory, fake it till you make it? Manya. Manya, what does fake it till you make it mean?
You have to constantly rehearse it till you actually make to your destination what you're aiming for.
Yeah, it means you put on a facade, you put on an act of what you really would like to be. If I would like to be super confident, I begin by looking the part of being super confident. I smile, I have eye contact, I have good body language. That is something which might not come naturally to you. You know, some of us will swallow, some of us will feel uncomfortable. All that has to be put to the backside. Just learn to put on a smile. When you come on stage, that's something which should come automatically to you unless you have a very serious topic in mind. This is called power posing. And believe me, Amy Cuddy did a study in which people were asked to just say, I am confident. You know, they had to just raise their arms and sit behind like this in a power pose before they went on to speak. And they came out much more confident than they would have come out normally. Then we have these words, I have time. Body language gauge is a very important gauge which will work for you in your evaluation. If you are speaking, even if you are sitting or you are standing, if you have a shifty eye, if you are not firm, if your hands are shaking or your eyes don't have proper eye contact, that will go against you in the evaluation itself. Sometimes I found people who are not genuinely praising somebody will just look like that. And the speaker looked really confident, but they won't look at the audience. That is an indicator that you're fudging. What I want to say is don't try and sugarcoat. You don't need to say things which are not true. Something or the other you will find in the speech which is true. You know, you don't need to say the speaker had beautiful vocal variety if he or she did not. You can say that the ups and downs in the voice were very good at some points and could have been carried further at a later point of time. That, if it is done, then the judges, the audience, and the speaker, they know that you are not sugarcoating. You are being genuine when you're talking about something. I think all of it, you know, boils down to being genuine and being warm. These two things I found consistently. Whenever I've gone on stage and I've been super, you know, I've done really good hours and I thought I've done fantastic recommendations, I've realized that this hasn't worked. I have to be genuine to the speaker. I have to try and raise the speaker to another level by being genuine. These two things, if we can have, they will really help us in doing a good evaluation. I think, Manya, 3 more minutes to go.
Yes, ma'am, you can take like 3 or 5 minutes. You can have, you can complete the points and then we can have a few questions and then we'll proceed.
Yeah. So, I was remembering the time when this happened. She said, I'm going to settle down. I finished this speech by saying the speaker need not have done, I need to settle down. Anybody would have settled down very happily with her. I thought I'd finished on a very positive note and I'd given a great, ending. But during the course of my speech, I had rubbed people the wrong way. That's what I felt. And that's what is something we have to really, keep in our minds. So quickly summing it up, title, divide your page into 2 halves, write the C's, write the R's, write the neutral points, grade your C's, grade your R's, the best C first, the next C second, the next C third, your best R after that, then the next R, and then a beautiful summary. In the summary, don't try and bring something new. Summarize whatever you've done, summarize it in a good way so that people are able to understand what you said, and then finish the speech on a very big high. Give the speaker that feeling that, yes, you had the courage to mount the stage today, and you will have the courage to mount the stage again and again, because once you've done it, you've overcome your fear. If you don't find a speaker good at all, at least one thing you'll accept, the speaker had the courage to come forth in glossophobia. 73% of the world worries about glossophobia. So if the speaker had the courage to come forth and speak, that itself is a very, very great thing to have done. So before I say au revoir to you, au revoir means bye-bye in French, I'll just read my thoughts on evaluation. I can give without losing. I can give you a good evaluation without losing anything that I have. I can share your good points with you without compromising anything to me. It's not that I should have written, I need to add value to your speech. I need to make your speech more valuable. If genuineness is there from my side, then everything will shine. The phoenix shall rise. That's my surmise. That's my surmise. And that's my surmise. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anusha. I think that after such a detailed tour of all from C to R to C with a beautiful summary, I think that we are all feeling really equipped for the contest coming up. So we can now open the floor for a few questions if there are any from the audience end. So guys, you can raise your hand and you can go ahead. Any questions regarding evaluations?
There must be
Hello,
things
ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, I'm Abhijit from Jaipur Toastmasters Club.
Hi, Abhijit.
Thank you for such a wonderful session. I have a question. You told me that when you are jumping from the commendations to recommendations, there are certain phases you use. But what should we use in terms of from recommendations to conclusions at the end of the speech? Will there also
recommendations? You go to the summary. From the
Yes.
recommendations, you say, and now to summarize, now to encapsulate the speech, I'm encapsulating all that I have spoken till now. And then you round it off. You give a summary, and then you say, to wind up the speech in its entirety, to get the entire effect across to you. What I found most beautiful about the speech was that the speaker had the courage to come across and speak truthfully to us, which came and touched us right to the core. So leave the speaker on a high, and when you transit, make the transitions very positive. Don't make the speaker feel low at any point of time. I remember there was a speech in which she talked of extrasensory perception. You can see it on YouTube. The 2017 evaluation, which I did, I felt I was very generous with the speaker and I was actually meaning everything I said. So when you transit, try to transit in a positive way. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Can I ask now?
Yeah, please go ahead. Could I have your introduction?
Yeah, this is Simran ma'am, and today's evaluator.
Yeah, Simran, hi.
Yeah, hi ma'am. So ma'am, I'm really sorry that I didn't listen that what phrases should we use from coming from recommendation to recommendation.
Let's use one here. For such a 5-star speech, what could we do to make it to a 7-star level? You said something that the speech is really nice, but you've also said that there are rungs to be climbed. You can also say, for a speech which had so many positives, what is the little bit of tweaking we could do to take it to another level altogether? Or you can say, nobody's perfect. Thank God for that. And to bring the speaker as close to perfect as possible, I have a few self-given recommendations, which are only mine. Anything you say, as long as it's gentle and it's positive, that's what's going to help.
Ma'am, I have a 2-point question.
Yeah, just ask me one by one.
Okay, so one of the things that one of the fellow Toastmasters talked about transition. Sometimes it is very jarring. Sometimes the transition is not pretty smooth. And I have attended few sessions on evaluation wherein people have dissuaded or have actually advised us against using phrases like having said that, as much as I would like to, and something of that sort, for what it's worth. And so how do we make a transition which is not pretty jarring? And the other question, the second point question is, what if you're not able to find any recommendation in the speech?
Let me answer your second question first. I already answered that. There is no way you cannot laud a speaker for having had the courage to come on stage. Have a standard line ready. Say for 73% of the audience in the world which suffers from glossophobia, this is one person who had the courage to overcome that glossophobia and mount the stage. Hats off to the speaker for that. It takes courage just to come on stage. So anybody who has come, if you can't find anything else, at least this one thing is there, then if there is content in the speech, you will have something you would have liked about the content that the person has given. Talk about the content. Talk about things and be genuine. I again and again say that, be very genuine. Try and see what little positivity there is. You obviously either will really like the speech or really dislike it. So if you really dislike it, then these are the standard safeguards you can keep and which are again genuine, which you can give. And to your first question, how do we make a transition non-jarring? Now, to make a transition non-jarring, you take off from the last commendation you gave. You say, this speaker had the courage to come on stage, had fantastic content, had a philosophical message to give across to us. Do you think something was missing? Well, something could have been added here. There are so many ways of just transiting. And if you're in a hurry, you transit and say, I have given what I found fantastically positive about the speaker, but I feel there are some little points which need to be tweaked. If you're running short, you're near the green card, then you say that. But nothing is jarring until it is hypocritical. I feel that if you're saying something which you're not saying genuinely, then it might look jarring. So try and again, try and be genuine. And you will come up with something which you'll be able to link the positive and the negative with, and you'll be able to transit very smoothly. And there are 2-3 which you can always keep ready with you. This 5 to 7-star speech, I think I've used once. And then a tweaking of what you're going to be saying is something I've used again. And then the standard line that thank God, nobody's speech can be perfect, because then we would be Mr. or Miss Perfect ourselves. And keeping that as a cue, let me try to analyze what the speaker said and bring out what could have been done, something to that effect. Does that answer your question, or would you like to cross-question me on that?
Just one thing, that is it okay to use phrases like having said that like once I'm done with my commendations, can I move to a recommendation by using phrases like having said that, but something of that sort?
There's no harm, frankly. You can say that having said so many positives doesn't mean I was immune to factors which can be tweaked. You can use the word having said that might have been combined with something which is slightly negative. That is what they must have wanted you to avoid. What they're trying to say is, having said that sounds like you've done a favor to somebody by speaking, very favorably about them. And now you're coming to the actual thing where you're going to be analyzing. So you can say, having said that, I know nobody's perfect. Thank God for that. So here I come with some recommendations, which are from my personal viewpoint. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah. Could I have the name, please?
My name is Ping. I'm from District 51.
Okay.
Yes. Recently, I evaluated a speaker, and she did very well. Her speech was wonderful, but she did not fulfill the purpose of the speech. So how would I go about that?
Purpose of the speech, meaning she did not talk about, she did not have a message in the speech?
She was doing a understanding your communication style, right? It's supposed to talk about her communication style that impact others. But her speech didn't touch on that. But her speech was very good. So how would you recommend we go about that?
No, I haven't got it. She was talking about understanding your communicating style. And she talked about
her project is understanding your communication style.
Right.
But her speech didn't touch on the purpose, which is explaining how her communication styles impact others. That is the purpose of the speech. That was the purpose of it.
You said it yourself. You said it fantastically. Yes. What you do is you say that in a speech which was so well-rounded, there was one aspect which was missing. The crux of the speech should have been targeted to trying to get across your communication style to the audience. And that was the exact thing which was missed out. If this had been taken care of, it would have been a speech of a different genre altogether. But I'm sure she learned that and she'll be able to do it in another speech from now. So you've said it. In fact, you know what you're saying. You have already analyzed, right? You have already analyzed it. You don't need to be scared of criticizing nicely. You don't need to be a diplomat. You can say what you like, but don't be harsh. That's all I feel. Does that, have I got the question right?
Yes, thank you, Anusha.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we can have one last question, which I saw raise a hand from Abhijit. So Abhijit, if you have a quick question, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Abhijit again. Ma'am,
Hi,
one more question that how should we start the evaluation? The people start with some quotation, they start with some takeaways from the speeches.
Okay,
proper...
good question. Excellent question. Okay, I believe that the moment you come with the pre-rehearsed beginning, you have put an axe on your foot. I really believe that, unless it's 1 in 1,000 speeches. Pick up something which was said in the speech and talk about it, because that will show you are genuinely evaluating the speech. If you go about and you say that for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. This is a famous poem by Lord Alfred Tennyson. You've rehearsed it out. You are supposed to be analyzing on the spot. So that is what I want you to do. Pick up a phrase from the speech. Pick up the central idea of the speech. Pick up something the speaker did, but let it be very much showing that you were there and you heard the speech now. You could never have heard it earlier. That's another very good tip, which I should have shared with you, that pick out something which is there from the speech, link it up with the title, and explain to the audience why you liked it. Because after all, you're going to begin with what you've liked. So what you've liked has to be linked to the title of the speech that you're talking about. And very rarely will people talk off the topic. People, when they are talking, they will be talking around the topic. Sometimes people get misguided and will give a topic or a title which is not very correct, but more often than not, they will connect. So that's a wonderful question. Hope that helps.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Manya, you're muted.
I think that with this, we have already exceeded the time limit, but the quality and the knowledge which we have gained from you, Toastmaster Anusha, I think that it's incomparable, it's invaluable. And with this, I'm feeling even more equipped to go with the evaluation contest. And I think that all those 30 people sitting in this room are feeling the same. So
Thank you so much.
So as a moment of gratitude, can we all please come on camera and give a thunderous round of applause to Toastmaster Anusha for so effortfully preparing the slides and sparing her time for all of us. So
thank you so much.
So can you come on camera and give a thunderous round of applause? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.